No, I listen to it all the time. I tell all my friends to smack it raw.
Following podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the host are not necessarily those of the host. Discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smackin' Raw podcast episode 189. I am your host, the Warden, Matt Ritter. I am here with my co-host, Daddy Delgado himself.
Daddy's home.
And our very special guest for our two-night takeover stand and deliver recap, the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations for Black Label Pro. Tyler, what's going on, man?
Not much. Sorry to everyone listening that they couldn't get a more popular guest. I know, very underwhelming, but I'll try to do my best.
I think this is going to be fantastic, and it's nice to actually have someone that has some actual experience in the company that we talk about, not just two idiots who sit here and pretend like they know what they're talking about. So it should be fun. We're here to talk Stand and Deliver Takeover nights 1 and 2. We're going to kick it off. Did you guys both get to catch the pre-show match of night 1 with Zoe Stark and Toni Storm?
Yes.
I had it playing in the background. I watched most of it.
Toni Storm was on TV and you weren't fucking watching. She didn't even have her tights on. She went back to shorts and you weren't watching.
I had other things. I was doing other stuff.
I'm gonna need you to be single again so we can focus on what's important.
No. It wasn't that. I for whatever reason I decided I'm gonna unbox this box full of my video games and my DVDs and stuff, and let me organize them.
Wait. You knew that we were gonna recap this show and then the show that we watched tonight, and you decided that that was the perfect time to unpack and not pay attention to what the fuck we were watching.
Well, I did it right when the kickoff show started, so I'm like, oh, I have a few minutes. Like they're usually gonna do it like the last 15 minutes, and then when the match started, I'm like, oh, I'm in the heap of it. I'm right in the middle of organizing all this shit. Well, I've already committed, I'm already here, so I try to multitask, but I'm not the best multitasker.
Also, if you guys can tell, Vince is trying to keep his voice low. Apparently, he's trying not to wake anyone up that may or may not be in the house. So, excuse him if he's hard to hear. That or he's just trying not to embarrass himself. I'm not sure which. We'll see.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Tyler, what did you think of the opening match, Zoe Stark versus Toni Storm?
I mean, I thought it was all right. Like, it was nothing spectacular, but obviously, given it was the pre-show, I wasn't expecting like too much from it. I do got to say, I was surprised Zoe ended up winning. They definitely seem like they're going to be pushing her and making her like quickly one of the top tier women on the roster, which kind of caught me off guard because I haven't been watching like weekly. I've been kind of tuning in and out and keeping up online, but like, have they even done like a video package or something explaining like who Zoe Stark is? I feel like she just like showed up, started wrestling, and they're like, oh, hey, she's really good.
I think they did a small video package maybe the first week before her debut, but it was nothing spectacular. It was nothing over the top. More so, they've just been letting her rack up wins and kind of doing the slow burn as she starts basically running her way through the women's roster. And I mean, former NXT UK Women's Champion Toni Storm, a victory there is a big deal, especially even though it was pre-show on a takeover.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I like going back to what Tyler was saying. I was surprised that happened at the kickoff show. I knew that this was what they were going to do because they kept putting her up against like the top faces in the women's division down at NXT, so that you felt like she's eventually going to get that upset win. I just thought they were going to do it on like a regular episode of NXT and not the kickoff show of Takeover, because even though it's Takeover, like most kickoff shows, not too much consequences happen there. So it was a little surprising. Also, a little surprising to see Toni Storm take this loss. I'm surprised it was Toni Storm.
Yeah, me too. Actually, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Zoe Stark. I think she's great. I really enjoyed the match, but I'm very disappointed in how Toni Storm has kind of been utilized since coming back to NXT once the pandemic kind of lightened up and they got her back over there. I mean, she's just taken loss after loss after loss, and I really thought she was going to be the one that they were going to strap the rocket to.
Yep. No.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like that's their biggest problem. Even though they have so many really talented women in the division, I feel like Toni was another one that, like, she came over. They definitely wanted to do something with her, but they didn't really have a story in place. So I feel like they just went with the cop out, like, oh, we'll turn you heel, have you challenge for the title, and then she's just been eating loss after loss, like you said.
Yeah.
Main card kicked off with Nita Strauss playing America the Beautiful. Fantastic. My question is, since we normally do a spit or swallow, is there anything that you guys didn't like that you would have spit on night one? Any matches that you weren't fond of?
I don't think there's anything from night one that I would have spit. I liked everything.
Because I knew we were going to swallow just about everything here. So I have one that I'm spitting. We'll talk about that one first. I'm spitting that fucking gauntlet match.
Gauntlet Eliminator.
First off, that was not a gauntlet. That was Royal Rumble Gauntlet Scrambler, whatever the fuck it was. It was not a gauntlet match.
Gauntlet
it didn't help. I'm guessing. Did they explain like the rules before the match?
Yeah,
kind of, but
okay, because like I definitely tuned out, and then I was watching it, and I was like, okay, why is someone coming in when there's two guys in the ring, and then a fourth one can't? I'm like, this isn't a normal gauntlet. And yeah,
this is not a gauntlet. It was not a gauntlet.
So the standard gauntlet match, for those of you that may not know, this is why you guys are so confused. Is that
make sure you turn your volume up to hear Vince explain this.
So usually with a gauntlet match, obviously someone gets pinned, they get eliminated, next person comes out. Gauntlet Eliminator, they explained that they have 3 minutes. So they even specify, like, Isaiah Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff have 3 minutes to settle this grudge feud they had before Bronson Reed comes out. So they have 3 minutes. Then the next competitor came out, and they even said that at one point, if there's no eliminations, all competitors can be at the ring at the same time, and the winner is last man standing.
Yeah. So they just made some shit up.
Gauntlet Eliminator.
So they just made some shit up.
That's
what
it called
it, the Gauntlet Eliminator.
Because this whole thing has been convoluted as fuck from the get-go, because you had a battle royal, but the battle royal didn't determine the contender. It determined the position of the 6 men going into the Gauntlet Eliminator, which is just some made-up bullshit. And the actual reason I'm spitting is because the logical choice to win, the person that should have won, and the sexiest man on that entire roster, Dexter Lumis, did not walk out the winner to go on to face Johnny Gargano on night 2 of NXT TakeOver. And I don't, that's the whole story we've been telling.
I will agree with you on that. I was disappointed Lumis didn't win, but I'm a big fan of Bronson Reed. I'm here for big boy season, you know. I wasn't disappointed that it was Bronson Reed. The only person in that gauntlet I think I would have been legitimately mad if they won was LA Knight. Like, I can't stand that dude.
Well, not just that, but like LA Knight versus Johnny Gargano doesn't even make sense at this point. Not with his debut where he's at. No. But no, the story's been Dexter Lumis, Austin Theory, Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
We've been waiting to see Dexter Lumis get his hands on Johnny Gargano for that North American title.
Mm-hmm.
And no pun intended, because he was in the match, but you fucking swerved us. And you gave us Bronson Reed. I know there were a lot of people hoping Swerve was going to win. I don't know.
I was rooting for Swerve when it came down to him and Bronson Reed. I'm like, I don't want Bronson Reed. I want Swerve.
I was terrified when Dexter Lumis threw that clothesline and he went out of the ring with Cameron Grimes, and they like both landed on their heads on the ring apron on the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, yeah, when he went out, I was like, I've lost all investment in this match now. I was here for Dexter Lumis, and that's it.
Okay. See, like, even at the end when it came down to Swerve and Bronson, I was just like, you know what? Whoever wins, I'm not going to be disappointed. It was somebody fresh. I feel like maybe they were just trying to build up Gargano since he never really had a lengthy title run. So I guess maybe tacking on another title defense, so it means more when Lumis wins rather than okay, Gargano's champ. You know he's going to drop the title because he never defends it.
Yeah.
So I could see that being why. And then, yeah. Also, at the beginning of that match, when LA Knight came out, it immediately popped in my head. I thought, oh, do you guys remember a couple years ago? I think it was what 5 or 6 man, like I can't remember if it was a battle royal or something. Samoa Joe came out on SmackDown, basically like eviscerated everybody, like talked shit about Jeff Hardy, Ali, all those guys. I was like, oh, it's like that, but so much worse. I was like, this is like he saw that before the match, was like, I'm gonna do that, and then just totally like sucked, and it was fucking awful.
No,
I couldn't stand it.
I was not an Impact fan, so I know nothing about Eli Drake.
Yeah.
Everything I know is Vince, and Vince is like, we'll have to see if he can go in the ring with the guys. And I will say this: when he first came in, he made a very valiant effort to show that he's going to try and go with the NXT talent. So I will give him that.
Yeah, I don't think he's like bad in ring or anything. Yeah. And like I even didn't mind like the Eli Drake stuff and Impact and everything. Just this, I from the start, I haven't liked it.
I was just say Vince told me he's all promo, and I'm like, okay, so wow me with your promo, and then we got this bullshit.
So I think the issue is that obviously he's not Eli Drake, and he's trying to like keep some of that Eli Drake into this LA Knight character, but obviously he's trying to make it somewhat different. Like I think the best promos when he was kind of his vignettes, and it was just like something pre-recorded. I think he just hasn't figured out what the fuck LA Knight's supposed to be just yet.
Because why isn't LA Knight just Eli Drake with a new name? Why is that an issue?
Honestly, like I said, I was a supporter of LA Knight. I'm like, I like the whole dummy stuff that he was doing over at Impact, and I figured he'd just carry that over here, and obviously he just hasn't, and it hasn't resonated. Unfortunately, I don't know about you guys. Did it seem to you guys that they're pivoting to LA Knight and Dexter Lumis after this?
I mean, they did set up like a potential match, but knowing how like they'll even just quickly do stuff on TV, I could see like LA Knight and Lumis kind of being filler on TV until the next takeover, because I know like takeovers are like at least a little bit more sparingly than like the pay-per-views. So maybe if they do another TV special or something.
All I know is they better not get out of Johnny Gargano versus Dexter Lumis. I need to see Johnny Gargano passed out in Dexter Lumis's arms, being caressed with the North American title laying next to him. I need it so bad. And then I need Indy Hartwell to embrace Dexter Lumis.
Yes.
Index.
Don't
I need
ruin
those
Index
to be a thing on TV in real life. Start posting IG photos together.
Oh,
with hashtag couple goals. Like, come on.
Just live the fucking gimmick.
Yes.
Absolutely. I need it to happen.
I just hope they circle back to it. I hope it is a case where it's just they want to give Johnny a few wins here and there and don't want to actually drop the title to Dexter Lumis, or maybe they're going to pivot to someone else. Maybe they're just like, you know what, we're going to give this title to someone else instead. And
if that was the case, they should have made that guy win the super convoluted match.
Yeah.
Beat Johnny, and then Dexter and Johnny could have gone off and had a feud without the title if they're worried about locking the title up with a character like Dexter Lumis. Instead of giving it to Bronson Reed. Stop with the maybe. What is this maybe shit? Are you on payroll for NXT?
No.
Then stop defending them. I spit this segment in my absolutely biased Smackin' It Raw match reviews. It got one eggplant emoji, and that was it. One eggplant emoji.
All right.
That was it.
All right.
Let's get into what we're swallowing. Let's get into the shit we liked. Right off the bat, we kicked it off. Pete Dunne versus Kushida in a battle of who is the greatest technical wrestler in the world. These guys tore it down. I thought after this, I'm like, this might be match of the night. In my opinion, it wasn't, but it was a great match. And I know it was a great match because my wife watches with me, but when she watches, she kind of like reads a book and everything. And every once in a while she'll look up. She looked up for when they did the arm stomp, when Dunn stomped Kushida's arm, and she's like, oh my God, that's got to be broken. And from that point on, she was hooked for the rest of the match. She put her phone down. She was done reading. That got her in. So I'm like, okay, they've hooked her. If they've hooked her, because I can't even get her attention away from book half the time, they've done something right here.
No, I genuinely love the match. I love the setup to this match, how it needed very little build. And honestly, these are just two fantastic wrestlers that put on a clinic, a perfect way to kick off night one of TakeOver. And I think the vibe for night one was this is the match of the night. And the next match would happen. I'm like, this is the match of the night. Every match except for the Gauntlet Eliminator felt like match of the night after you had watched it.
But you said you liked the Gauntlet, though.
I did like the Gauntlet, but I didn't get match of the night vibe from the Gauntlet Eliminator.
Okay.
You would if Dexter had won, but since Dexter lost.
Yep. See.
You know what? Even if Dexter had won, I don't think I would have gotten a match of the night vibe from it. It was just there.
True. Plus, it is harder. Like a Gauntlet with that many people. It's yeah.
I feel like Matt was this close to muting me.
I do that. I see. I don't know Tyler well enough. I'm not going to mute him now. He's got grace for this one episode. If he comes back, he will be subject to it. But Vince, you are on the verge of getting muted at all times with your ridiculousness and slander. Do you guys think the right guy won here?
I don't.
You don't think? See, I was with you when I did predictions. I thought Kushida was going to take this.
Yeah, because I don't think a loss would have hurt Dunn. Because especially the match went so well, he still had a strong showing, wouldn't have looked that bad. But another loss for Kushida, I know he lost to Devlin a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
he's been eating a lot of losses, and it's you got to do something with him soon because
he's
he can go in the ring, but I can't remember the last time he won a match. So
he's the Tony Storm of the men's division.
Don't say that. No, because then they'll turn him heel for no reason. Then he won't have the cool Back to the Future.
For a second there, he had this edge. They kind of bordered the lines of, is this man a heel now or is he not? He was a little bit more edgy. He started coming out in jeans and shit.
Well, the only edgy thing he did was he beat the shit out of Velveteen Dream, but everyone loved that. So that's not a heel thing.
Well, I was gonna say maybe if he goes heel, he can still do the Back to the Future thing, but instead of Marty, he can be Biff. And then we can get them throwing him into a pile of manure or something.
That would actually be pretty cool. And then he could just come out with a book and just pretend that he has the results to the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. See.
Going back to the Pete Dunn, I think the right man did win here because clearly, if you look at TakeOver Night 2, he was in the crowd. He's clearly still in that title picture. Pete Dunn needs a championship. Whether that's that North American title or the NXT title, he needs a championship and he needs to get a win here. He can't call out the entire locker room and say he's the best technical wrestler and then lose on the first match of the card. He kind of has. He's not an Eli Drake.
I was gonna say, but if he's a heel, he can absolutely.
Yeah, but he's not that kind of heel. He's more of a Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar type of heel where he comes out here, says, or like a Roman Reigns, he comes out here, says what he means, and that she follows through. Whether it's exactly how he envisions it or lays it out is a different story, but he had to win here. I felt like he needed this win.
See, but even going with that heel thing, he could have easily lost to Kushida and then just attacked him after the match, set up another match, and been like, "Oh, you got lucky. I wasn't on top of my game," or come up with something.
But I think if you do that with Pete Dunne, you fall into the Tony Storm trap where now he's taking loss after loss, just like you did with Kyle O'Reilly. That's why I felt we'll talk about that, but
Kushida's already there, and that's the point. Pete Dunne's got some leeway. Pete Dunne's got some credit built up with being that NXT UK champion, being tag team champion. He's got something behind him. Kushida needed this to get him to that next level because we've seen him lose to the North American champion. We've seen him lose to the Cruiserweight champion. So now where does Kushida go and what do we do with him? Because he is a great wrestler. He is a great technician. He can go. So we sacrifice him for Pete Dunne. I mean,
unless you have a plan in place for Kushida after this win, he's not the right man to win.
That's the point. That should the person that won this match, there should be a plan in place for them.
And it looks like they have a plan in place for
Dunn's win looks weaker because you have to build Kushida up because if he's beating a bunch of nobodies that haven't won, then you can't take him seriously. Plus too, with this whole Dunn proclaiming he's the best technical wrestler, I didn't think he needs the title either. I thought this could eventually lead to another fight pit with Thatcher or something and a feud with that. That's where I thought they were going with that. So Dunn could have taken the loss, gotten the win back on Kushida, claimed he was the best technical wrestler, and then Thatcher could return and be like, hold on, no.
I also wouldn't have been mad if Dunn had gotten the win underhandedly as a heel.
Right, yeah.
And kind of screwed Kushida, because then you kind of save Kushida a little bit. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, he lost, but Dunn had to cheat to get him. He had Dunn beat, and Dunn went out of his way. Kushida lost clean. That hurts Kushida.
Yeah. I mean,
it's 2-on-1, Vince.
You guys make some fair points. You guys, it's kind of hard.
Vince is gonna regret having me on here, and he's just never gonna want me back now. He'll be like, "Oh, Tyler was a bad idea. Never mind."
No,
no. Trust me. When we get to night 2 and we talk about Escobar, Vince is gonna rub my face all.
Oh, yes.
I'll
be with him on that. So okay.
His time is coming. So
yep.
Everybody's getting gangbanged tonight.
Then another match that Vince is, I'm sure, super excited about. MSK defeats the Grizzled Young Veterans and Legado del Fantasma to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. I had my money on GYV. I thought the smart move was putting the belts on GYV and letting MSK chase. Build them up a little bit, because, again, don't watch Impact, so now it's just kind of like these two stoner kids that I don't really know that just showed up and did one funny thing.
Well, I mean, Tyler knows this. Obviously, me and Tyler are a little bit more aware of the Rascals, aka MSK. So they just kind of came in hot, and they were selling their merch. They were selling out quickly. I was trying to pick up a shirt, and they were already out of my size. All they had was 4X and 5X left. They were hot, and NXT was like, "These guys are hot. We're gonna capitalize on this. We're gonna put the straps on them." And I will say this: I think GYV, getting the titles and then having MSK chase them would have been the better story and would have been a bigger win. But the way this match went down, I think this was probably my favorite match, or the most action-packed match of night 1 for me. And stars, here's the thing: the stars of this entire match for me was Legado del Fantasma. They showed out. I thought for a second that they were going to win the titles and MSK chases them, or MSK versus GYV in the side program while Legado gets the titles and do a program with someone else. This was just fantastic all around. I literally have nothing I'd spit from this match.
No, this was a very fast-paced match. People were flying fucking everywhere. Like you said, it was a showcase for Legado. They did not lose from losing this match. GYV, who, as RN has said repeatedly, in his opinion, is the greatest tag team in WWE. Don't at him. They did their thing, and MSK came in and they showed out too. They walked out with the titles. I'm not mad about it. I just thought that seeing these guys, for me, who's not familiar with them, it would have been nice to watch them chase and kind of get to know them a little better before we just threw the titles on it. And I would have liked GYV to get that, because I think they're great. So
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with Vince. Obviously having the background and knowing Wes and Nash, I was rooting for them the whole time. Now, even going back to the Dusty Classic, I thought oh, they'll have a good first round match. I was convinced Atlas and Swerve were gonna win, and they were gonna be the team to go to the finals, and the rivals turn tag team, they'd be the Bar or something like that. And the second MSK won that first round match, and then even Triple H was tweeting about them, I'm okay, they have serious plans for these guys. So them winning the Dusty Cup didn't surprise me, and I feel like they probably would have won the titles against Birch and
Lorcan.
Oni. Yeah, Lorcan. But I feel like this is still going to set up a program with Grizzled Young Vets.
I think
at least that's what I hope.
Well, we know who their next opponents are going to be, but we won't get to that till we get to night 2, because our kickoff show for night 2 got them their first set of opponents for those tag team titles. I will say this: the one complaint I do have about NXT, Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan and Pete Dunne, they were a group with Pat McAfee. Still no fucking clue what the name of that group was.
They're just Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch, Pete Dunne, and Pat
McAfee.
For the brand. They were the kings of wrestling. They were four things, but never actually officially anything.
Yeah.
MSK.
Well, I still feel like that group would have been some sort of UK name, because I think Rich Holland was probably going to be the fourth dude that McAfee ended up replacing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that just kind of threw everything like a wrench in the plans, and they're just like, well, we'll throw McAfee in there, and luckily it turned out well.
Oh yeah.
What are the odds that they're just biding their time until Rich Holland can come back, and then he is added as the fourth member minus Pat McAfee?
I mean,
they're not really together anymore.
They were together in the crowd for the NXT title match.
I feel like before Dunn's match too with Kushida, was Birch and Lorcan like talking to him before he walked through the entrance?
I think so. I swear I've seen that too.
Okay. Because I figured they could possibly be doing that, because now that UE is split up, which I'm still not over, there's got to be somebody wrestle. Like, I'm guessing Imperium would be the War Games team. I have no idea what they're gonna do with
that. I am terrified to see Walter get in that War Games cage.
I feel like Walter's probably not going to do anything off the cage, but I could see him throwing someone like through the cage.
Yeah, no, absolutely terrified. Because here's the thing that I love about Walter, and we'll talk about that right now. So we'll use first. I don't know what the fuck MSK stands for, and it bothers me.
Yeah, part of me just wants to text Wes and be like, "What the fuck does this mean, dude?" Like, I still don't know.
There are a lot of theories out there, but nothing has been confirmed, Vince.
Yeah.
So you can say it's motherfucker smoking Kush or whatever you want to come up with. We don't know what it stands for. A lot of speculation that the SK is at least smoking Kush. So, Champa versus Walter. This was my match of the night. Like, don't get me wrong, the main event was absolutely fantastic, but these two delivered hard. And this Walter, the thing about Walter is he scares me because I know he's working safe, but he works safe in a way that makes it look dangerous and really, really violent. When he lays in his power bombs, that spot with Champa on the top rope where he's like kicking Ciampa's face to the floor, like, I know Champa was okay and it was safe, but it didn't look safe. It almost looked too real for me to be comfortable with, where I was kind of concerned for Ciampa's health. And that's props to Walter, because I've never heard someone come out of a Walter match injured or say the guy doesn't work safe or anything like that. But his work scares the shit out of me.
Those chops scare the shit out of me. Just in general, he fucking broke a table.
I love that they did that spot with the announce table, that Champa ducked out of the way, and then Walter just literally like a knife through butter. Just, I was like, my God, it's terrifying.
Absolutely fantastic. And a great way to, that was why it was my match of the night, is because while we had a great technical classic in Kushida versus Dunn, we had a story told in this match. And it was, they took away Walter's quote unquote biggest weapon by doing that. He couldn't use that arm. And then as a very last resort, he used it to get the win, which I was actually okay with. I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, he just won with the slap and it was with his injured arm, but it was like that last gasp effort with that arm. Like, this is everything I've got to finish him.
Yeah.
Powerbomb didn't do it.
If you're in a real fight, like, you're going to get that adrenaline rush that regardless of the pain, like, you're going to be able to power through it. So it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just because he's injured doesn't mean that the impact from his strikes are any less significant. It just means it hurts him as much as it hurts his opponent.
Well, the theory is he's going to swing not as hard because of the pain. And we saw him holding his arm and not using it, actually using his left hand instead of his right hand for the majority of the match because it hurts so bad.
Yeah, they did a good job pointing that out on commentary too, that he was having to use his other hand. So
commentary in general has been very good for a lot of these matches, like really like adding to the story, which is just a nice change of pace. Love it.
Definitely like the commentary team. See, I thought they did a good job setting up, like, even from before the match and the beginning of the match, when they did those sit down interviews on the pre-show with Champa and Walter. And Walter was like, yeah, we're pretty similar, but Ciampa's different now. He's a family man. He's not the same Champa that he was 2 years ago. Like, the second Champa walked out with his head shaved and didn't have like the 50-year-old looking hair, I was like, oh, this is the old Champa. And then right away when he started letting off on Walter and he's like, you wanted the old black hair, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I was like, this match is just going to be physical the whole way through.
And back to the trunks too.
Yes. Yep.
So no more tights. Went back to the trunks, shaved his head. Still probably now, definitely that we got rid of some stuff on night 2. The best theme song in NXT right now goes to Champa. I absolutely love it. for now. I absolutely love it. So I got a little story for you. I actually had to get off Twitter for this match. The wife wanted me to give the baby a bath as this match was going on. I'm like, all right, well, I'll do it after the match, but let me pause it real quick. I'll go, because I was watching on USA, because I noticed that Peacock had a little bit of a delay and I was getting like a minute or two spoilers. And I'm like, nope, fuck that, going to USA.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll pause it, I'll run, I'll change the baby's diaper, come back. By the time I fast forward through commercials, I'll be caught up. Yeah, so I changed baby's diaper and she just pees everywhere. So then it's like, well, fuck it. Now we're going to take a bath. So then I was 10, 15 minutes behind everyone else on the show. So yeah, I had to get off Twitter at that point. I only went on to, like, after I finished, I updated the match with my completely biased eggplant emoji match ratings, but stayed out of the chats and stuff for that because I didn't want to get spoiled on anything. So yeah, the baby peed all over me and made me 15 minutes late for the rest of the show. So that was fun.
Sounds like typical baby stuff.
Yeah.
Usually at the worst possible time, something like that happens. So.
That was like, that was the one match that I was really excited for. And that's why I told my wife, I'm like, oh, we'll just do it after this match. Like, she can wait one more match. She'll be all right. No, she's like, we're going to go now. Make sure of it.
No, but I just love the physicality in which Tommaso Ciampa brought it to Walter. Like, commentary addressed it, and I noticed it before they even said anything. Like, this is the most competitive Walter match I've seen. Like, that he actually looks like he's actually hurt. This is the first time he's actually been damaged. You know, someone actually took a little bit of his health bar.
Well, if you would watch NXT UK.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joe Coffey.
Yeah.
Matt,
the match
what is
with,
it? What is it?
Ilja especially, that was...
Matt, what is it that you say about AEW Dark? If I have to watch AEW Dark or Being the Elite just to figure out what's going on the main television...
NXT UK is not a YouTube show.
It might as well
really
be.
Glad you invited him.
Legitimate show. Even though only like 4 people watch it.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Anyway, I had this whole joke about Walter being in a snuff film, and you completely ruined it. You just completely fucked
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, we're moving on. Main event, Raquel Gonzalez defeats Eoshari. Now, this is where I rub it in Vince's face, because Vince was so sure that Eoshari was going to retain. Vince was so sure that Raquel wasn't going to get the win here. Vince was so sure that Io was going to... I told him, if Io wins, who the fuck is left? There's nobody. Yeah. What does she do? She had to lose here, and it looked like at the end of the match may have been a farewell to NXT.
Yeah, the rumors, or at least from wrestling Twitter, is that she's getting called up to Maine the Monday after WrestleMania or the Friday after WrestleMania, which honestly I wouldn't be too upset about, because like you said, Matt, just really nothing else left for her to do. Listen.
Now he listens to me.
I listen. I just choose to ignore facts and logic and all reasoning because I'm biased here. Io's one of my favorites on NXT, and I always want her to win. Am I mad? Am I upset that she lost? No, because she lost it to a fellow Mexican, Raquel Gonzalez. So I'm all about Raquel getting that win. And seeing how night 1 went kind of felt like I knew how night 2 was going to win, because there was a theme here. There was a certain vibe, almost kind of like a passing of the torch, changing of the guards from night 1, and you also felt it at night 2. The match was fantastic. It was stellar. I thought it was great. I knew the minute that Io hit the moonsault and Raquel kicked out, that's it. That moment to me sealed it for my mind. Yep, she's not winning here. I let my own fandom bias cloud my judgments and all reasoning here, but it was the right choice.
The way she floated off that skull, which, by the way, the set design for this was fantastic.
I love that.
We've seen her. Games. Yeah, we've seen her fly off the house from In Your House, so this spot was kind of expected. But the way she just floated gracefully into Raquel's arms and took her out, it was absolutely beautiful.
I think like the WWE accounts were even tagging Kevin Owens that like, oh, you have like, hours to respond, and he's like, guys, like she gracefully jumps off of this stuff. Like I'm a fat dude that just falls fast. Like this is not the same at all.
Yeah, not at all.
And like that's why I even tweeted after she jumped off that skull. I was like, I feel like for these takeovers, like Io just gets to the arena and then just looks for the tallest thing and is like, okay, I'm gonna jump off that. Like, let's do it. It's hysterical.
I will say I have been referring to her as Giant Gonzalez for a very, very long time. Going forward, our new NXT Women's Champion, I'm going to put a little respect on her name and call her Raquel Gonzalez. So until she loses that title, we will be retiring to the best of my ability, because I may slip it in there every now and then, the Giant Gonzalez moniker. I'm happy for her. Like this is a long time coming. We saw War Games last year. She pinned Eoshari in the War Games match. I was a little off put by her winning the Women's Dusty Classic. It seemed like a diversion of where I wanted to see her go, but they got her back on track. Here we are, new NXT Women's Champion, and she is someone that when she does get called up to the main roster is going to be a force in the main roster, just like Rhea Ripley, if not more so. So only good things coming in the future for her.
Absolutely, because I felt the same way when she got that pin on Io in War Games. I kind of figured it was just more a matter of when and not if she would beat Io. And like, yeah, I thought the Dusty Cup and then like having the tag titles for a whole hour, like, bit unnecessary, but I guess maybe they felt that helped build her up a little. I do gotta admit, I was surprised. I thought maybe Dakota might come back out.
Yeah,
Either
especially
after,
with all the smoke and steam they had going on.
yeah,
It
something
really
like that.
teased it.
So, I mean, overall, I can't have any complaints. Like you guys mentioned, like if Io would have won, there really was nobody left that was a credible threat. She's gone through everyone else. She had a great run on NXT. I would like to see her called up to the main roster. Triple H might just hold her hostage in NXT and then end up like Ray, where she's doing something very dumb over the summer. But yeah, and then also Vince, if night one was a changing of the guard vibe, Kushida should have won. So, my last jab into that.
Fantastic point.
Fair point, Tyler. Very solid point.
I will say this: I think the only match that we didn't get that I would have liked to see for the NXT Women's title was Ember Moon versus Io.
Yeah, that would have been really.
But Ember is in a great spot over here on night 2. Overall, night 1, I'm assuming we're all swallowing night 1 as a whole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though I'm spitting that terrible fucking made up match bullshit. Fuck that shit. Night 2, we kicked it off. Tag team match pre-show. We've got Drake Maverick and Killian Dane going over Breezango.
Spit.
Yep.
Spitting.
Hard spit.
How
Breezango should have won.
Breezango should have definitely won, especially cosplaying as pirates. Definitely all day, every day. No, I don't look. It was kind of cool. It was all right seeing the Killian Dane Drake Maverick pairing at first. It was all right, but I kind of over them. I don't really care about them on TV.
They haven't given you a reason to, though. They
haven't
utilized them or done much with them since, that whole thing with Drake ended, to where you have a reason to still care. And that is an issue, is you can build up a reason to care about people and, okay, this is fun, this is cool. But then if you stop doing it for 3 months and then go back to it, it's like, oh, well, yeah, it was cool, but I don't give a shit anymore. Like, there's other cool shit now.
Yeah.
Especially when now they actually have like a small number of like legitimate teams that go in with the random pairing. It's like, why? Like, could have gone with set up something even next week with like Grizzly Young Veterans getting a number 1 contender title shot, or even them and blanking on the name.
Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah, could have had like a match.
Imperium.
Yeah. Yes. Imperium. Like, there's so many other options that it felt like Killian and Drake were just thrown together. They were doing stuff, and then, like you said, did nothing for a while, and then randomly it's like, oh, hey, they're number 1 contender.
Only interesting thing that they've done. It hasn't even been in ring. It's been backstage. Alexander Roof kind of teasing their like past insanity about like, look, you do Killian, like, look what you're doing now. You used to be a monster. You know, people used to be afraid of you, and like, look at you, you're a joke. And it kind of seemed like maybe they would like make like a giant faction of Imperium that will include Thatcher and Killian Dane at some point. But it looks like they just kind of like throwing that out the water.
Where the fuck is Thatcher at?
I have no idea.
Like, I heard he was part of that COVID scare, but that's done and over with. He should be back by now. I really thought we were going to see him last night at the end of Champa's match, standing on the ring or standing on the ramp with the rest of Imperium. I thought that when Walter walked out there and got in line, we were going to see Thatcher come out and get in line and pose, and we didn't. So where the fuck is Thatcher? Because if he's not out there helping Champa, and he's not out there joining Imperium, which is the whole reason we even got this match in the first place.
Yep.
The fuck?
I know, like, he has a vent situation going on that's keeping him preoccupied.
I guess. I know on TV, like the week after he was off, like Wade Barrett was like, "Oh, he's on a fishing trip." I was like, I can't see Thatcher fishing, but then I even tweeted, I was like, I would think if Thatcher went fishing, he would just like bare hand, like just grab the fish out of the water. Like he wouldn't need a fishing pole, and he'd just be like, and just like eat the fish.
So there is a fishing technique because my wife used to watch a lot of river monsters called noodling, where you actually just shove your hand in a hole and let the fish bite onto it, and then you pull your arm out. I love the term noodling for other reasons, but I could definitely see Thatcher noodling.
Yep.
Yeah. That visual is in my head now. But
I stopped because you sighed. No. Normally when you sigh, you've got something. So I was waiting for you to deliver something, and apparently my Thatcher noodling just kind of sucked all the air out of you, and you lost your place.
No, honestly, like that's all I wanted to add. I was like, that visual is now in my head now. Like Thatcher noodling.
Okay. I will say I do love my mutuals because I had somebody tweet out something along the lines of Breezango wrestling a Make-A-Wish kid, talking about Drake Maverick, and then I had RN last night who just I listened to the Smacked Raw podcast when they did their night one takeover recap with Kyle from Apron Bump, and RN was just going off about how much he hates Breezango. They were talking about how Fandango forcefully sticks his nuts in your face and he's not okay with it, whereas like a Finn Balor gently suggests, hey, you want to touch this? Fandango's just banging it in there, and he's not a fan of that, and
those are very aggressive gyrations.
Consent is king. You know, you get if you don't have consent, it's a big no-no.
Yeah, definitely.
So for those two reasons, I enjoyed this, but I agree, don't really care overall. It was a pre-show match. Could care less about the winner. Do I want to see MSK versus fucking Dane? No, I don't.
I have no interest. And like, they don't pose a real threat. I feel like this is just to get MSK another win and an actual title defense. So
that's exactly what it is.
All right, Vince, you ready?
Yeah,
I am ready. Off night 2 official card with the Cruiserweight Championship ladder match to determine the undisputed Cruiserweight champion. Santos Escobar defeats Jordan Devlin and completely ruins all of the work I've done for the last 3 weeks trying to convince Vince why it was a great idea for Escobar to lose.
Look, man, like he's been doing fantastic work on television on NXT. He's the man with that title. No, look, Jordan Devlin is a great, fantastic wrestler, but don't they got like a cup or something over there in NXT UK? And Jordan Devlin's so good, he doesn't need to. Like the points you were making last week about Santos Escobar not needing to win the Cruiserweight, not be Cruiserweight champion because he could just go and transition to the North American title scene or the NXT title scene. Well, what's stopping Jordan Devlin from going after the NXT UK title? Like Walter? I feel like he's okay, well, challenging Walter at least. Like, I'm not saying he's going to win, but I feel like he's at that level where he's a big enough name now that he can actually challenge and be a credible threat or like challenger for the NXT UK title.
To be fair, at the time that the argument was made, I had a credible argument in seeing Santos Escobar being able to go toe to toe with Finn Balor and enjoying that
totally.
match. No point can I see Jordan Devlin going toe to toe with Walter in any sort of satisfactory situation for Jordan Devlin.
I
That's
would
the
be
first time for
satisfied
everything,
seeing
Matt.
Walter just chop the shit out of Devlin. Like, that's why I love this match. I just don't like Devlin. So, I mean, he's a good wrestler. I'll give him that, but I just
I like
don't
his
like.
finish. I like his finish.
Yeah,
Devlin's, I love the name. It looks dope. But yeah, no, I mean, he's gonna go back to NXT UK. Now you did bring up, since both me and Tyler actually watch NXT UK, unlike some people, they do have a cup, and it bugs the shit out of me that
called the Heritage Cup.
And it bugs the shit out of me that they're defending it like it's a title. Because since when do you defend a fucking cup?
I was so confused when they were doing that. Like, I was so happy A Kid won it, but then I was like, why is he like he won it? Why?
Yeah.
That's their mid-card title. That's what Jordan Devlin does next, apparently.
When do you defend a cup? Who wins a cup and then has to defend it?
I have no idea.
In football, if you win a fucking bowl or a cup, do you go back the next year and defend the fucking bowl? Or like, no.
In a way,
you have,
so to speak,
you have another tournament.
Right. Like, I could see if like next year A Kid was in the Heritage Cup tournament again to try to take the cup again.
I don't understand why.
Come up with another title. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. What are some countries over there? Do they call them like, do they have it broken up? They already have a UK title, so they can't call it like I don't know.
I guess they technically could bring back the European Championship, but also I feel like the European Championship would have to be their heavyweight title, and the UK title would have to be the mid-card title.
Yeah.
All right, so ladder match. Obviously, Escobar wins. Did this live up though to kind of? I mean, they had Shawn Michaels come out and endorse this, so they basically put the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels ladder match in your mind by having Shawn come out and shove the ladder into the ring.
I thought the reference they were trying to do was Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental titles. Yes.
Yeah.
They put that in your mind, right? So, did this match for you as a ladder match for a unification title? I won't say live up to that, because that, I mean, it's quote unquote the first ever ladder match, and that's why Bret Hart will tell you different, and that's where that came in. I'm not gonna say live up to it, but did it meet or exceed your expectations for what this match was going to be?
I mean, it definitely didn't exceed my expectations. Like, I definitely thought it was good, but I thought it was more like spot, break, set up something else. And like the spots they did were really impressive. Like the moonsault Devlin hit off the ladder. Like, I know guys usually have a hard time doing anything off of a ladder, so being able to pull off the moonsault as well as he did. And then like even at the end, like Devlin could have died like 3 times in that match. Like when the interference happened, they just threw him. Like, he almost landed like neck first on the hardest part of the ring on the edge of the apron. And then when Santos headbutted him, like, that could have ended so much worse when he landed onto that ladder. And then I also didn't like Santos then like taking like 4 minutes to unhook the, like, just grab the belts. Don't, like, come on.
Savoring the moment, Tyler. Savoring the moment.
I was going to say, Vince loved every second of that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, going off of what Tyler was saying, to me, kind of felt like spot after spot. And the best comparison would be like, go have a match in WWE 2K to rent, just like hitting moves after moves. And that's kind of the vibe that I got from this match. I don't think it exceeded any expectations. It wasn't below my expectations. It was just like right in the middle. It was a good match. Okay, way to start off the show. Not a bad way to start off the show.
So here's why I brought this up. Before, I had technical difficulties and we had to restart this whole call. You asked us how we felt about the show, and both Tyler and I said that we thought that the wrestling on night 1 was better than the wrestling on night 2.
Definitely.
So on night 1, outside of the bullshit made up match, you didn't have any stipulation matches. Here you've got something. You've got this ladder match. So this is the night 2 spectacle. This is the one with the stipulation. This is the one with, something behind it. And That's why I asked if it delivered, because again, if we felt like night one, which was just straight up wrestling matches, was a better wrestling show, and this, which is designed to be the wow match, this is, I mean, obviously the unsanctioned match was also designed to be the wow match, and there was a lot of wow there. Did it wow, or was it just a ladder match?
I think what you're trying to get at is like the wow match. I think like the one that really like stood out. They got people talking. The next day on night one was the triple threat tag match, and then that's what this ladder match was supposed to be, is to fill that same role almost.
Yes and no. I'm just saying this is a ladder match, so, and it's a unification ladder match. So this is the match that should have the biggest high spots, the most, the most.
Yeah.
I guess to talk about the next day, like he said, the moonsault, this and that. So did it really? They stood. Did they deliver?
By your definition, Matt, I would say they stood, but they didn't necessarily deliver on the specific criteria that you have set.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I knew there would be, like, I went into the match knowing there would be stuff like that. So there wasn't anything that like went above and beyond that, like, oh my God, this will be something like 10, 15 years, like the WrestleMania 17 ladder match. Like, this was a good one, but it's not like an all timer. So
A devil inside off the ladder might have done it for me. That might have been the big, that might have done it for me. But and especially if Escobar reversed it into like a crossbody or something,
right,
that would have been cool. They're just, I don't think there was that one ladder match, because you talk about ladder matches, there's always like 1, 2, 3 big moments in these ladder matches that you can go back to. Even in NXT for the North American, like Velveteen Dream or not Velveteen Dream, his moves that he's done in those ladder matches, like you remember that shit. Is there anything from this match going forward for a undisputed title match like that we're gonna talk about and remember later? And I don't think there was.
I would say no, because even like if you go back to like a match, like these guys are supposed to be delivering in this type of a match style, but going back to like an Undertaker Jeff Hardy, I still remember that ladder match because it was memorable. There were spots in there and even moments after the match that just stood out, that made that.
We don't talk about Jeff Hardy in a positive way on this podcast. You know who did stand and deliver for me? The Fire Pit, your women's tag team champions, your NXT women's tag team champions, defeated the Way. I loved seeing Ember and Shotzi execute actual tag team maneuvers, act as a team. I love that they've embraced that they are a team and they've made themselves an actual tag team, and it's not 2 single stars just thrown together. They've come up with the tag team name, which is fantastic. They're executing tag team maneuvers. I love the gimmick. I love the look. I love all of it. I am absolutely head over heels in love with Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. And as Vince knows, after this match, WWE tweeted out a picture of them celebrating that looked a lot like they were about to make out, which has now inspired me to do a whole bunch of fucked up shit with out of context WWE photos and porn titles that you guys can expect coming very soon from @MattRitter on Twitter. So go look for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there going to be a fanfic episode?
No, it won't be a fanfic episode. So basically, what I did was I tweeted out that I retweeted that picture. I saved it and retweeted it out, and I said, "Alexa, play What's Your Fantasy" by Ludacris. And then Kyle from Apron Bump came in and said, "Interracial stepsisters interrupted by stepmother," or something like that, as like the Pornhub title. And I'm like, that is fantastic. So now I'm just going to go through and find all of the most sexually suggestive WWE photos that are just not actually, like, I'm not going to go get the Lita and Edge,
the live sex celebration.
Yeah, like I'm not going to get shit like that. I'm going to go.
There's so many unintentional photos. Like, I feel like you'll have plenty of material.
That's what I want, is the unintentional shit that I can
probably go through like almost any match and pause at like a specific time, and like you'd be like, ooh, taken out of context. Yeah. But yeah, what you were saying with the match, like I enjoyed the match, but I'm especially happy that Shotzi and Ember have embraced like being a team, because it would have been easy for Ember. Like, I was on the main roster, I came back down to NXT. Like, she was probably thinking like maybe another singles run with the NXT title or something. Could have been unhappy about that. And now that they've embraced this and like even putting Indy and Candice as like an actual team, it gives me hope for the NXT women's tag titles. So
yes.
I think to just add to what you were saying, it's like I think Ember in general was just happy and just satisfied that she's even being used properly on television. She's actually has a story and actually some sort of direction, which is something she wasn't even given on main roster. So I think
that's not true. They gave her that really great story where she was like a book nerd and they were picking on her. You remember that?
That was terrible.
Oh no, you didn't like that? Oh,
that was terrible, man.
I agree with you 100%. Ember Moon, in my opinion, is hands down one of the best in-ring female competitors WWE has. Yep. I cannot believe they did not utilize her better, though I can, because on the main roster, being a hands down one of the best in-ring competitor isn't as valued as your personality. If you're a great personality, you don't have to be the greatest in ring. And you see that with guys like Hulk Hogan and John Cena, who did very little as far as moveset and match wise, but had all of the personality to get themselves over. As you said, Vince, I think Ember just wanted to wrestle, and there are a lot of people on that roster that just want to wrestle. Aleister Black, the recently released Andrade. So let them just wrestle, because look how happy Ember is. Like she was so happy she forgot her title belt on the tank and had to go back and get
that
it.
Shotzi had to like stop her before they got in the ring. It was like, hey, you got to grab that belt. Like, don't leave it on the tank.
Like she was just so happy to be there that she didn't even remember that belt. She left it on the tank.
She's literally like just like I'm just happy to be here. Like I'm getting to wrestle. Like I don't even care what's supposed to happen. So yeah, it's definitely refreshing to see for sure.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I just really like the vibe of night one with just like the pure in-ring wrestling and no stipulation. I actually enjoyed this women's tag match a little bit more than the ladder match itself.
I will agree with that. But again, I enjoy most things Shotzi and Ember more than anything else.
So you're biased.
I will say this, though. As you said, I love that they're actually doing something with Candice and Indy as well. And I don't know if it's the Index love story or the fan fiction that I've created in my head for them, but Indy has really grown on me. From the moment they dubbed her Indy Wrestling, she was over with me. And since then, every week, she has impressed me more and more with her character work through this Dexter Lumis story, her in-ring work, and then her work with Candice. So
yeah, because she was someone when she got signed, like I knew she was a really good wrestler, and like she was definitely one person that I was like, damn, I wish we could have used her like at BLP before she ended up signing with WWE. But obviously being international, that was kind of a given that it'd be tough to have her over. But I knew she was good in ring. But now that she's getting a chance to actually show like her personality on TV and everything, like I feel like she's getting really comfortable and like being able to like be her true self. And I know she's still really young, like probably only like 21, 22. So she's got a really bright future in the company. Yeah. So she'll definitely be a serious player for them for a while.
We kind of talked about it already, but not really. The wrong guy won the made-up fiction match and went on to challenge for the North American title and lost to Johnny Gargano.
Can I just say I really didn't like this match all that much? It wasn't bad. It just I wasn't invested in it.
I mean, to me, it was just like another Gargano match. Like,
I did enjoy watching Gargano like run into Bronson and bounce off him, and then run into Bronson and bounce off him.
Yeah, Bronson just being a big dude and like, you can't do this to me because I'm like.
But then he lets Johnny hit a poison Rana on him, like follow throughout the entire match. That was a pet peeve of mine. It's like he started off like not letting Johnny hit moves, but towards the end he hits a poison Rana.
Well, he's weakened by the end of the whole point of the match is to weaken your opponent, Vince.
I'm always against big man selling poison Ranas or like selling like flipping for someone. Like, no, like
listen, as a big man, that match went on long enough to where he was fucking tired and probably just fucking fell over. Like, I don't blame him. I told my wife when I was watching this, I was like, I truly believe that if Bronson Reed can do this, I can do this. The only difference is he's like 6 foot something and I'm 5'8". But I feel like I could be a Taz. Like, I feel like I get in there with that 5'8" Taz vibe, be a little powerhouse. Because she's like, well, Johnny's 5'8", but he can run and flip and do shit. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. I don't have that body type. But I could be a little Taz powerhouse.
That's fair.
I can see it.
I also love just seeing big dudes do like really athletic stuff that they shouldn't be able to do, and yet somehow they do it with ease and sometimes make it look better than the smaller guys. Like, I'm all for that. I know, like, logically, like, oh, it really shouldn't be happening, but who cares? Like, I love it.
Apparently I do. Apparently I'm the only one.
Yeah. Like, forget logic. When does WWE ever really use logic anyway? So.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't want to shit on the match. I honestly don't. But it
wasn't a bad match.
It wasn't a bad match.
Definitely wasn't bad at all.
I just maybe I guess like I wasn't too invested because I felt like it was a foregone conclusion that Johnny was going to win. Like it was no doubt in my mind that Johnny was going to retain this title.
I wonder. Go ahead.
There was the possibility, like, Loomis, maybe, like, if they wanted, like, to do the Gargano Loomis thing, like, he could have easily just popped up out of nowhere and then, like, taken. I was kind of low-key hoping he would kidnap Theory again, but, like, even if he interfered with Gargano and cost him the title, then there you go, right back into those two, and you got that set.
What would have been fantastic, yes and no, because again, I really like what they've done with the Way and with Candace and Indy, but also if Loomis had just come out to distract Johnny and then Indy had like followed him to the back, just like went after him, and even Austin Theory, like if they both just went after him to hypnotized by him, I would have enjoyed that. That would have brought a little bit of fun to the match. Because like I said, I prefer when the Way stuff stays in vignettes and outside of the ring. I don't like when they get the cheesy, like running inside the ring. Austin, where'd he go? Where'd he go? I don't know. I don't see him. And he's under the ring.
Like, that did bother me when Theory hopped up on the apron and then jumped down, and like you could clearly tell Bronson was coming around, and then Theory's just like trying to look forward, pretending he doesn't see. Like, he even looked over.
Yeah.
Like, Bronson's coming. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it was a fine match. I honestly think that night 1 and night 2 should have been mixed up a little bit better. I feel like if you had put either Pete Dunne and Kushida or Walter versus Champa in the place of this match or the Devlin Escobar match and given us one of those solid, just straight up wrestling matches, it would have boosted night 2 a little more. Helped with the pacing a little bit, but this was all title heavy on this one. We had the one title on two title matches in the first show, and then we had, what was it, 3 here. So we do have a new,
because it was the cruiserweights, the women's tag, the North American, and the NXT.
Oh, okay, yeah, 4.
So yeah, 4. So very title heavy on this side. I think they could have done 3 and 3 and brought in one of those matches. Like I said, you could have swapped Escobar and fucking Devlin for Dunn and Kushida. And
I think that would have helped, actually.
It might have helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Really gotten us up a little bit more in the beginning. We do have a new NXT champion in Karrion Kross, and fuck NXT for cock teasing me with the goddamn demon, because that Finn Balor entrance was so cool with all of the NXT takeover clips and pictures, and the last one they show you is the demon, and I got up and I got excited and I got hard and I was like, the demon's coming, and then it was just fucking Finn Balor with red paint on his chest, and I'm like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Even Karrion Kross got excited. If you look at his face, he was so eager. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, he was like talking with Scarlett. I was like, we're going to get the demon. We're going to get the. I knew the demon wasn't coming out. I knew he wasn't coming out. He was going to drop the title to Kross. Then to set up the second match, he's going to go next level. He's going to go like Super Saiyan. And then that's when he drops the demon.
You got too much faith that they would follow through with that.
I have a little more faith in NXT following through than I do maybe main roster, but again, my hope here was the demon comes out because it is Kross still wins, and then we transition to Finn versus Walter.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. A lot of people really like this match. I enjoyed this match. Again, I saw some people saying that this was a match of the night for both nights. I don't think so. For me, it was still Walter versus Champa, but it was a damn good match. Finn sold his ass off to make Kross look great.
That ending sequence where he just shot after shot after shot.
See, that I didn't like.
I was going to say, my one gripe is the Walter chop at the end of his match worked for me. Cross winning with a forearm to the back of Finn's head did not.
Yeah. Plus, like, when he had Finn on the ground and then Finn was like just dead and unconscious, I was like, this is like a UFC fight when the ref won't stop it and like he's just laying in forearms still and Finn's just like corpsing right there. And then he picks him up. I'm like, okay, now hit the Finn. And then he just kept like he dragged it out too long.
Yeah.
I felt like.
I was gonna say this is where you cue the Simpsons gif. It's like, stop, he's already dead. That's kind of what happened at the end of this match, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
No, the match was solid for what it was. I thought it was really good. I was invested in it. I thought Cross looked like $1 million. I liked his get up too. He kind of looked like he had kind of like a Greek warrior look to him, which I was really feeling for whatever reason. I was really into Greek mythology growing up in like middle school and high school, so it really resonated with me. I was feeling it. That was cool.
So here's where this match loses me. This match for me was like if you watched a really good porno and you were excited for the cum shot at the end, but instead of finishing on her face, he just kind of shot on the floor and missed. That forearm was a complete miss for me. Complete and total miss. Did not do it for me. And it almost tainted it a little bit outside of me just being upset that they teased me with the demon and didn't give it to me. So I'm happy for Cross. Cross is going to be fantastic. Hopefully they stick him with some more guys that make him look as good as Finn did, because you do run the risk of him being a little green, looking a little green. You don't want to run into that Goldberg issue. He's going to need guys to work with that are going to get him better. But he's got a dominant presence. He's got a look. He's got Scarlett, who's going to cut his promos and make him look really cool. He's got a great entrance. He's got a lot going for him. Yep. We'll have to see where he goes from here and who his next opponent is.
I think we have a hint as to who it might be. Like I kept mentioning, Pete Dunne was in the crowd for that match. I think Pete Dunne, if he's not one of the first, like if he's not the first, he's one of the first people to challenge for that title. And he would be a good like person to pair up with Karrion Kross, someone that can make him look good.
So you're telling me we sacrifice Kushida so that Pete Dunne could be sacrificed to Karrion Kross?
It all makes sense. The pieces of the puzzle are falling into
so we could have had Kushida beat Pete Dunne and then use that to go on to possibly challenge Johnny Gargano for the North American title, or maybe Phantasma for the Cruiserweight title. Instead, we're going to let Pete Dunne use that I'm the greatest technical wrestler in the world to go into a match against a guy that's just going to crush him and just flatten all that momentum. So this is your master plan, is give Pete Dunne that win, let Kross crush him.
Plus, since he's like heel Pete Dunne right now, like that would just be a boring match to me, because like Kross would just like snuff out anything Dunne tried to do and just overpower him.
Fair point. I don't know. I'm just going based off what was presented to me. I'm trying to like piece what I can.
I'm gonna need Scarlett to get a little bit of that brouhaha in her. And if we do get a Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross match, I want to see Pete Dunne go for his gimmicky finger shit, and then just have like Scarlett almost like Paul Bearer ringside with some sort of thing to like help power Kross. So like the fingers get snapped and then Kross just looks at him like, oh, that didn't hurt me. I'm fine.
That'd be cool. Okay, that would be kind of like cool.
Pulls his finger back into place.
Yeah, and then just punches him in the face with it. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But if you do that, you kind of have to take it to the next level. Like he like dislocates like Kross's arm and then he pops it back into place, just kind of like in Dragon Ball Z, where like Piccolo just like has his fucking arm cut off and then all of a sudden he just regrows that bitch like nothing happened.
So you're making all these Dragon Ball Z references, which I do appreciate, but the one thing you didn't talk about was the one thing I did, which was making those Finn Balor Nappa memes, because tell me Karrion Kross does not look like fucking Nappa.
He does.
He just like fucking Nappa.
Especially with the getup. He totally fucking did.
Our main event, Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne in an unsanctioned match. I will give WWE and NXT and Triple H and Shawn Michaels props. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because you say Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne.
Yeah, well, that's because you keep talking about fucking Pete Dunne. That was night one. You won't fucking let it go. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, unsanctioned match. I give them props because I've never enjoyed unsanctioned matches for the fact that you still have a referee out there. And if it's unsanctioned, like I always feel like an unsanctioned match, as you said, should kind of be like a UFC fight where there's just like a doctor, somebody out there to call the KO, and winner is kind of last man standing. Like you're knocked out, they call the match, it's over, but there's a ref enforcing no rules, but there to count a 3 count. They took the ref shirt off the ref and just had him in a black t-shirt.
Yeah, see, that was awful for me because I definitely wasn't paying attention at the beginning of the match. So I thought like one of the security guards was just out there like, hey, are you guys okay? And I was like, why is security checking on that? I'm like, oh, that's the ref. Okay, my bad.
I completely forgot that he was there. So then when he got knocked out, I'm like, why is Adam Cole hurting this man that's just standing in the ring? So he's just trying to do his job. He's just a production crew guy. No, it turns out that's the ref.
My thing was, I love the typical spot where like, oh, he knocks out the ref, and then like 45 seconds later, he goes for the pin. Then he's like, oh, what the heck? Why are you unconscious, man? Like you didn't just knock him out like a minute ago. Like, come on.
Right.
So there was a lot of good here. There was some bad. I feel like the match went on way too long.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that feeling. It felt like it was definitely starting to drag, and like they could have cut some stuff.
Mm-hmm. The only spot that, because there were a lot of spots here, some big spots, a lot of spectacular spots. The only one that really bothered me because it looked stupid as fuck was Kyle O'Reilly wrapping the chain around his leg to kick Adam Cole, and the chain not staying on his leg, and him still trying to, because the kicks looked weak, the whole thing looked stupid, and then Adam Cole wrapped him up in the figure 4, and they're like, oh, the figure 4 with the chain, and I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure that chain wrapped around his leg does not emphasize what's going on with that figure 4 in any way, shape, or form, but nice try. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And then, so really quickly, going with the whole Undisputed Era split, because I'm still salty. I'm still in denial. I still think they're going to get called up to the main roster.
As we are.
It's going to, like, just, they'll pretend like it never happened. They'll all be buddy-buddy again. So I have two conspiracy theories. One, it's technically Cross's fault that Undisputed Era split, because if he didn't vacate the title when he got hurt, Finn would have never had those matches with Kyle. Kyle wouldn't have invited him into UE, and Adam wouldn't have split Undisputed Era. So this is all Karrion Kross's fault. So I hate him for that. Secondly, they decided to split Undisputed Era because CFO made their amazing theme, and they're like, we're switching all the themes. You guys don't get a new one. You're just breaking up, and you all get generic rock themes. So,
oh my gosh.
By the way, Kyle O'Reilly's entrance was fucking god awful.
Oh my god!
Regardless of the generic rock theme, his dancing to the like, I tweeted out, I really want to like Kyle O'Reilly, but this entrance just isn't doing it for me. Now I kind of want to see him get beat up. Like,
and then how do you not put a boom in Adam Cole's theme when he's even standing there waiting? Like, boom, and it's just it's so bad, so bad. Ugh.
Yeah, no.
Did you disconnect your
mic?
The
match wasn't. No, I didn't. I'm right here. Can you still hear me?
No, I hear you, but it sounds like you're talking on computer audio instead of mic audio now.
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
No.
How about now?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Sorry. Have no idea what happened, but yeah, I think it goes back to what you were saying, Matt. Like, I think the match just dragged on a little bit too long. Like, I think that's what kind of did it for me. And you know, funny story. Watching this match with my girl, she actually had the opposite effect of the Pete Dunne match. She's like, "Why is this match still going? This is going on forever." And that kind of like made me realize, like, yeah, this match is dragging. This match is taking a little bit too long. What's going on here? They kind of like took forever to kind of get to the final beats of the match. Like, maybe if they cut like a good 5-7 minutes or so of the match, maybe it's a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot in the middle there. Also, I was really surprised that we didn't see Bobby Fish or Roderick Strong at all during this whole thing. Mm-hmm. I know Roddy quit. We saw Austin Theory quit last year, and we see how well that went. No idea where Bobby Fish is. Probably still injured. Maybe not. Got to come back soon. but not seeing either of them during this match, I was very surprised.
Well,
Yeah.
I still feel like Bobby Fish is still potentially stuck somewhere after storming a certain place.
Bobby Fish, whenever he comes back, is going to be that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meme when he walks into the living room and there's no one there. That's exactly what's going to be Bobby Fish.
Now, see, what I hope happens is I hope he just shows up like in full UE gear, like, let's go, guys. And then
what the fuck? What's going on?
What do you mean we split? And Roddy just has to break it down to him in the locker room.
So you're saying that Bobby Fish may be confined currently?
Yes.
Waiting on bail?
Yeah, precisely.
Wow. That he took a trip to the Capitol. Gotcha.
Yep.
Sounds a little fishy.
Very.
God damn it, Vince.
I had to.
I really did enjoy the spot through the stage though, and then Adam Cole like kicking out the side of the stage to get to Kyle O'Reilly. That was a really cool spot. The finish was great on the chair.
The last shot that Cole hit on Kyle O'Reilly where he fell back on the chair and then like landed awkwardly on the second chair. That one was one of my favorite spots.
I also like the last shot that Kyle O'Reilly hit on Cole. Why are you looking at me like that? You don't remember that? It was right after Kyle O'Reilly was basically fucking dead and then came back and had Adam Cole prone in the ring, and Wade Barrett's hyping it up and he's like fumbling with his knee pad because he can't get it down.
No, I think I missed that spot actually.
What?
I think I missed that one whole spot. That's why when you were explaining it to me, I'm like, did I miss something here?
Maybe the match went on a little too long if you're missing shit. Probably. I do know the crowd really wanted tables and never got tables. Like the crowd was chanting, God. "We want." I was
ready to tweet for that crowd to just shut up. I would have been the guy in the crowd because I also died laughing in one of the spots. I think it was right after either they were sitting on the chairs hitting each other or they were trading forearms. Just it got dead silent for a minute, and then you hear some guy in the crowd like, "O'Reilly, you suck." I was like, what? Hysterical. So I am glad crowds were back in like that sense because you got like the chance, but yeah, like the tables, I was like, guys, there's no need for tables. Like,
well, and shout out, they also put a lot more people in the crowd. Like I know a lot of people are saying they should have done this in the Thunderdome or wherever WrestleMania is going to be. They should have done it there and brought in a big crowd because it is like WrestleMania takeover. But they did pack more people into the CWC. So you did kind of get that first hint of a WWE like live crowd feel, more so than what we normally get from NXT with like the 5 people they have in their ringside. So
yeah,
I enjoyed that. Also, shout out to Mickie James pre-show commentary. That was nice. Yeah. I don't want to leave that out. Vince, I know where me and Tyler are. Where are you at? Did you like night 1 better or night 2?
I like night 1 definitely a little way more better than I like night 2. I think the 1+ for night 2 was Santos Escobar proving me right, becoming the undisputed unified cruiserweight champion, which he should have totally been. And aside from that, honestly I like Cross versus Finn. The women's tag match was fine, but I think the big match, it was a very good match. Honestly, that was probably my favorite match that I enjoyed watching was the women's tag match. But night 1 definitely had the better matches.
He also loves night 1 because if you didn't know, Pete Dunne won. So
yeah. And all of the momentum he's got going into being beat by Karrion Kross later, fantastic.
Oh my
no, he's probably gonna win it. He's gonna hold the title for like 2 years, like the UK title. I'm all for it, Vince, because like you said, they laid it out perfectly. It's gonna happen.
It's written in the cards, man. Just like Scarlett says.
So we're not spitting night 2, but night 2 could have been better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, I'm fair. I'm good with that. I don't really have anything else. You guys got anything else that we didn't talk about and cover? I mean, there was this dumb little MSK prediction segment on night 2 that I didn't talk about where they were both like, we're going to say who we think is going to win at the same time. And then they both said the opposite people.
Yeah.
But hey, we're still tag team champs.
Eh.
Fuck out of here.
It could have been better.
Oh, that's what we didn't talk about. The one thing that I really wanted to talk about: the calves on Frankie Monet, who will be here on Tuesday. Jesus fucking Christ, the calves on that woman.
It's a full on lock that's gonna be Taya Valkyrie. When they did the second vignette on night 2, and I saw the fuzzy like boots, I'm like, that's Taya.
Well, not just that, but Kenny from McKinney for Your Thoughts tweeted out a picture of Taya, and it showed her tattoo on her hand. And when she reached down in between those muscular calves to grab the dog, you could see the same tattoo on her forearm.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I just knew from the dog. Like,
yeah.
I knew her dog, and I was like, oh. I was like, that's Taya's dog running around. And then picked her up. I was like, that's Taya. Yep. Checks out.
And I know her. Like, I'm familiar with her. So, I do know some Impact stuff.
I wonder why, man.
Might not have known the Rascals, might not have known Eli Drake, but I know Taya Valkyrie.
Well, I think it helps too, because especially like if EO does get called up, and I don't know if anybody else would from like the current crowd. Like, I can't see them calling up Tony Storm yet.
No.
I don't know.
No,
they don't need to call anyone up because they've already got so many women they're not doing shit with, and then not even utilizing their tag team properly because they've got a fucking division that they've got the women's championships in for whatever reason. Neither here nor there. We're not going to get into main roster bullshit. They don't need. I mean, if they call you up, fine, but they don't really need to call up more women.
But having Taya, like, she's a veteran. Like, I feel like is someone that could step in right away and like be a serious like contender or like be established right away. So I'm definitely interested to see what they do with her.
I'm expecting her to confront Raquel night 1 because I don't.
That would be great. I would not complain about that at all.
I don't know what other female babyface outside of the women like Ember and Shotzi that they've really got that she could step to that would matter. Zoe Stark, maybe, if they want to go that route and try and build Zoe Stark through Taya, but other than that, I mean, depending on whether she comes in as a babyface or a heel, I could see a heel. Well, she should be, but I could also see her step into Raquel as a babyface first.
Yeah, we'll see. Because see, what they'll probably do is if they do have her as a babyface first, like she'll do the natural thing, like most of the women, where she's a face at first, then they don't know what to do with her, then they'll turn her heel. So,
I agree. Well, Tyler, man, I appreciate having the executive vice president of talent relations for Black Label Pro on here to talk the show with us. So that way, when we do our show tomorrow night and we cover AEW Raw and SmackDown, we don't spend 5 hours talking about it because there was a lot of fucking wrestling this week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Why don't you plug as many or any of the socials that you want to? If you don't want anyone to follow you or find you, I understand that. I will say if they do, all Black Label Pro booking suggestions should go straight to your DMs.
Oh yes, I love it. So yeah, I won't take the Big E route and tell people not to follow me or unfollow me if they are following me. So on Twitter and Instagram, my handles are Prince_Petty_. Shout out Tyler Breeze, big fan of him if you couldn't tell. And then follow Black Label Pro on Twitter and Instagram. I believe the Twitter is B Label Pro, and then the Instagram should be, I think, Black Label Pro or the B Label Pro. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Check them both. If they both exist, follow them both. Fuck it.
Yep.
Exactly. Obviously,
Daddy Delgado, how about you?
Obviously, as I say every week, you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SCSVince everywhere. And of course, check out the Smackin' Raw Instagram page at Smackin' Raw Pod. Once we get Matt's content out there, I'll make sure to post it on Instagram.
I mean, you could post the Napa Finn Balor stuff that I gave you.
I haven't opened the DMs. That's why I have.
The fuck were you doing?
He was too busy watching.
I'm over here trying to entertain you during the show and send you fun shit, and you are busy getting an old fashioned on the couch.
It is what it is.
Priorities, Vince. Priorities. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Matt Ritter. There's that MATTRIDDER. Also, go check out at Smackin' Raw Pod. Still, only like 150 people are following that account, even though like 4,000 people are following my main account. And I keep asking those 4,000 people, to go over to the other one. None of you guys fucking listen, but I appreciate it. So please continue to follow me if you guys aren't, and go check that out. Also, The Creation World, which is the banner under which the Smackin' Raw podcast exists. Find them on Twitter and Instagram at The Creation World. That'll get you content for the DC universe on the CW, movies, TV, eventually here very soon, Dungeons and Dragons, if that's your thing. We got content for everyone, not just wrestling, so go check them out. And same thing, facebook.com/creation world to get you everything, or facebook.com/group/smackin' raw for your wrestling fix, and facebook.com/group/super flashy arrow of tomorrow. If you are a CW DC fan, you guys can go check that out as well. Link trees on my page will get you to the YouTube and the Pornhub, because we are the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub, which is why there are all these sexual references and talk of porn stars and all that fun shit. What, Vince?
No, nothing. Nothing.
No, see,
I'm laughing at Tyler's reaction.
I was gonna say, did it not look like he had something to say? Like, I felt like he had something to say.
Yeah.
It's because I want to say something, but I was like, no, I'm just letting the shit play out. Tyler's reaction.
What do you got?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Well, then, for the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and Daddy Delgado himself, I am the Warden, Matt Ritter. We are Smackin' Raw, and we are the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub.
Let it go.